طيب بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. My dear brothers and sisters, yesterday we have started talking about the rulings of Zakat, and we are going to continue. Yesterday we given quick introduction about the Zakat. Why should I pay Zakat? Why it's very dangerous not to do so? And we spoke as well, I think the last point we were talking about yesterday, about the jewelry of the woman, or the jewelry of the jeweler, or as a man, if you have any piece of jewelry or anything related to that, we have spoken and we gave the details of that. تحدثنا البارحة عن أهمية أداء الزكاة وخطورة منع الزكاة، وتحدثنا عن بعض أحكام الزكاة ومنها زكاة الحلي. طيب, today I'm going to start talking about, I want to try to go quick as I can, because there's so many rulings, so many forms for the zakat to be considered. Here we have lots of people in Canada, mashallah, lots of brothers and sisters, they practice business, they are in business, in buying and selling. It's good to know the Islamic ruling when it comes to the merchandise. We call it zakat urud at-tijara. عروض التجارة, he meant by it the merchandise you have. Let's say you have a retail store, regardless what you sell. You have a phone business, you have a food business, you have there's so many businesses. Whether you are a retailer, whether you are a wholesaler. What you do, lots of people ask this question. He said, I buy stuff with wholesaler price, I put them on the shelves with the retailer price. When I come to pay, which price should I consider? The scholars, they said, when you come to this, first of all, you have to consider two conditions. You have to have, when you buy this stuff, the niyyah is, your intention is, you bought this stuff and your intention to sell it back, to make a profit. That's number one. Number two as well, that stuff, it has to be with you for the whole year, or when you buy it, still your intention is for that. Because a person might say sometimes, and it happened a lot, I bought some stuff in order to sell it, but after a while I changed my mind. I decided to keep it for me. For as long as you are not playing a game, as they said in Arabic, ليس فيها نية التحايل. For what you do, if that stuff for business, for selling, for you calculate, you have to consider many things here. First of all, you calculate, you consider the retailer price. If you are a retailer, what's on the shelf? You calculate the retailer price, plus if you have any money in your account related to this business, you add it as well. If your clients, they owe you money, you add it as well, especially if you know that you are going to get this money. You believe the potential is there, that money is coming. These three you have to consider, you have to add them. The price of the merchandise, the money you have in the account related to that business, if they owe you, the clients, any debts, these three, you calculate it. Before you pay zakat, you have to ask a question. Do I owe anyone from this business? You might owe your supplier. For what you do, if you owe the supplier some money, you deduct it from you reduce that amount from the total. What's left? The total, you pay 2.5. You pay 2.5. Why this is important? Because some people, they always ask, Shaykh, I bought this stuff for this price. Should I pay it based on the price I bought it, or no, based on the price which I am selling it? We tell him, no, you calculate based on the price you have on the shelf. طيب, What about another question? Some people, they ask. I have a brother, Abdul Wali here, for example. He's in food business. He asked me, Shaykh, I'm a businessman and I'm selling, for example, meat, or rice, basmati rice. Do I have, when I pay the zakat, it has to be money? Or can I pay, I calculate and I give the zakat in meat or in rice? We tell him the first option, it's better first of all if you give the poor money, because the poor here, you give him a chance to buy whatever he needs. That's number one. This is the best option. But if the poor, he won't mind, like he needs meat and the chicken and these things, he needs rice to cook and this and that. But if it's okay, there's a benefit and interest for the poor, yes, you can give the zakat in items. They need meat, you have meat, I will give them, I will contribute this meat for the poor. Let's say you owe $3,000, you slaughtered a cow, and this cow now the meat worth $3,000, you can deliver to the poor in meat, as long as that poor, he's going to benefit from it. Okay, you want to use this rice. Yes, it's doable. Another question, what about if I have, lots of business people, they buy sometimes items, they sell as much as they can, and sometimes they get stuck with certain items. And it's not selling with them. بيسموها بالعربي البضاعة الكاسدة. Kasida means it's not selling. You're trying to sell it, but it's not selling. Or you buy, for example, I deal with some people, I see sometimes they sell perfume, cologne, utur. He buys sometimes some stuff with different brands. He sell whatever. Sometimes he get stuck with a brand or two or three because there's a new brand and people, they're not interested anymore in that brand. And some people with the clothing, they got it, they couldn't sell everything. So they said after that, oh, I got stuck with this. For here, what do? With this one, you don't consider your original price on the shelf. You consider the market price. Whatever price you are able to sell it with. You're putting like $80 bottle of perfume for this brand. Now it's not selling with you. Nobody's taking it. You don't pay zakat based on the $80. Now it's real price. In order for you to sell it, you're going to be able to sell it for $30. If you consider this, the market price, it's market price now. Based on that, you pay that. Because the selling item, it's not like the unselling item. You can take this in consideration. And always you add the amount of the merchandise to the liquidity you have. If it reached the nisab, as we said, the minimum legal amount, and then you pay the 2.5. Some brothers, they asked a question. This is very important. They said, Shaykh, when I pay my zakat, some people said, I pay it always in Ramadan. Like the Islamic calendar lunar year, Sana al-Qamariyah. You know, Sana al-Qamariyah is shorter than the regular calculation. Like we have 365 days when it comes to January, February, March. This is the non-Islamic calendar. Islamically, because their month is 30 days, 31 days. There's only February, 28 days. When it comes to the Islamic months, Muharram, Safar, and those months, the Islamic lunar calendar, it goes to 29 and 30 days. Technically, it's less than the other year. If you go with the Islamic year, like you're going with Sha'ban or Ramadan or Shawwal, then you pay the 2.5. If you go with the other year, you say, Shaykh, I paid my zakat always in January. I pay my taxes. Now I want to pay my zakat. I want to pay everything I own. I own the government taxes. I pay them and I apply in January, for example. And I always pay my zakat as well in January. Here, you consider 2.577. Huh? The Islamic calendar, 2.5. If you go from Ramadan to Ramadan, Sha'ban to Sha'ban, whatever, 2.5. If you go January or February or March, you go 2.57. Okay? There's like that difference for the 10 days almost difference. This is good to know. I guarantee you lots of people, they're the first time they hear that. Because they always hear 2.5, because most of the time the mashayikh, they believe people, they got their zakat in Ramadan. Because most of the people, they ask us these questions in Ramadan. This month is Ramadan, I pay my zakat. For always they say 2.5. For now it came to my mind, he said, no, I have to reflect, I have to show this to the brothers, just to be on the safe side, For that's why we're giving the zakat. طيب, zakat al-tharwa al-sina'iyya. People, they are in not only buying and selling, trading. People, they are in industrial manufacturing. Some people, they are in manufacturing. We have some brothers, they have factory of marshmallow. Some people, they are factory of, they are making, for example, a guy last time, he's making halal, what they call it, gelatin. Another guy, he has a factory of samosa. So he has the equipment, you have the equipment, you don't, as we said yesterday, you don't pay the zakat on the equipment itself, on the factory itself, on the delivery truck itself, on the machine. You don't pay zakat on these machines. You pay of the merchandise, like you have raw material, in the storage, you have already manufactured items, you calculate this and you pay zakat on that. Like you have, for example, samosa factory. So you see, the samosas you already manufactured, made in the freezer, plus the raw material, plus the money you have, the liquidity related to your factory, you put those all together and you pay the zakat, the 2.5. But you don't go, I have this machine, I have the wrapping machine, I have the delivery machine. No, that you have nothing to do with that. Only you pay on the item, on the liquidity, on the money. المواد الخام, المواد المصنعة, المال, the liquidity, the cash you have in this account. Again, if you have a factory, also if people, they owe you money, you calculate it, you add it, and you believe that you're going to get that money from that person. And you deduct if you own somebody with any money related to that as well. Zakat al-mustaghillat, yesterday the brother, he asked a question here, brother Khalid, I think, yeah. He asked about, what about if a person, he has a plaza, he has like an apartment building, anything, whether it's a car, you are renting it out, a truck, a train, a plane, a plaza, apartment building, house, materials, land, anything, like a lot, you are renting it to car lot, whatever. You don't pay zakat on the building itself, on the vehicle itself, on the plaza. You don't pay the zakat on this as long as you are renting. You are renting and you are generating money and the profit. The zakat, it goes on the net profit of these things. Like you have a plaza. You rent that plaza monthly, like $60,000 a month, gross. You don't pay zakat on the gross. You have 60,000 times 10, 600 times 2, 120, $720,000 in a gross. You don't pay zakat on the gross. What you do, you pay what they call it, the property tax, the income tax, the insurance, if you have, your employees, the management fee, whatever. Those gross. You take all these expenses out, and what's left for you as a net, you add it to whatever else money you have. It reached the nisab, and you pay the zakat 2.5. Okay? Very clear? Very clear. That's good. Again, you have a car, you are renting it, truck, plaza, a piece of land, computer, plaza, building, house, farm, truck, anything. You don't pay zakat on these things. You pay zakat on the money which you are going to generate. When you come to the money, you look at the money. I have a gross net here. I pay all the expenses. Now I have the net profit. Let's say out of 720,000, you have net profit, for example, 300,000. You add the 300,000 to whatever money you have else, if you have, and you pay the zakat on all of it, 2.5. If only you have 300,000, you pay the 2.5, which it will be 7,500, because each 100,000 is 2,500. 300,000, you are paying $7,500 in zakat. Okay? I think it's very clear. At the end, if anything not clear, you can ask the question. Inshallah, I will answer it. He's saying here as well, zakat ad-duyun fi al-mu'amalat al-tijariyah. This is a very legit question. People they ask a lot about this. أولا بالنسبة للدائن. What you do here? You deal with people, especially nowadays. Not everybody can pay on the spot, COD. If you tell people you have to pay COD, most of the people, they said, thank you very much, I don't have the money to start with. For most of the business people, especially when there's a trust, when you buy from somebody the first time, he said, no, you have to pay COD, Sheikh. Because we don't know you. First time, second time, sometimes he said, you have to pay us. When they build a relationship with you, you have a credit with them. What they do now, you order, they send you the stuff, you sell and you pay. طيب. Now I want to pay my zakat, and there is debt here. There is dain. The debt here, my dear brothers and sisters, there's two kinds. We have what they call it. We have some kind of debt, you believe, we call it good debt. Means you believe that debt will come back to you because you know this person. Good company, good businessman, you deal with them for a while, you know, whenever you call them, they will pay you right away, or if they don't pay, at least they're going to pay you that money. The debt at the end is going to be honored. You are going to receive it. In this case, as long as this dain, you call ad-dain marju al-ada', means the potential is there to collect that money. In this case, you pay the zakat of that money. Like you have a brother, mashallah, friend of yours, you give him $10,000 as a debt, and you know this brother, some people they ask us, Shaykh, should I pay the zakat? I give my brother in Islam, my friend, a good loan, of course no interest. As a Muslim we don't charge interest, we don't take interest. We have to confirm this first of all. If I give my friend like $50,000 and should I pay zakat on it? We tell him, well, if you call him, did you get the money? He said no. He said, but he tells you, if I call him, he will give me the money. Oh, the delay is from you. This money you can consider it's in your pocket then. And you are not calling him. Means the money is technically, whenever you call for the money, he will tell you, here you go. Or even if he delay you a bit or some time, but you know that he's going to give you the money. This kind of debt, you pay the zakat on it, according to the prudent view of the scholars, نظرا إلى الرأي الراجح عند العلماء. طيب, what about دين غير مرجو الأداء مشكوك في تحصيله? Sometimes some companies, what they do, They call the company, they call the person, they call the client, this and that, we need the money, it's too much. Sometimes, and I forgot to mention one point. Also, with the first type, if somebody owes you money, and you believe that you have an evidence, you have a contract, you have an invoice, you have a proof. If you go to the court, you are going to get the money from him. That as well, they consider it that you pay the zakat on it. طيب. Now, especially if the person is admitting, yes, I owe you this much, I will give it to you, just give me some time. In other case, other scenario, the debt is, they call it somehow the dead debt. This debt is dead. And the potential to get it back is very, very low. And we are not sure if we are going to get that money. Or that client or that person, he's denying. He said, no, I don't owe you anything. And at the same time, you don't have any proof. This is one of the common mistakes, by the way. It's good to mention it. Muslim brothers, oh brother, mashallah, brother, my brother in Islam, oh it's and that, you know, oh boy, guys say tap on the shoulder, this and that. Brother, I need 15 grams for 1 month. And oh no problem, man, you are my bro, you are my brother in Islam, we are brothers, huh? And you give him the $15,000. You didn't get any witnesses, you didn't write anything down. Some scholars say it's a must to write it down, but the majority of the scholars say it is highly recommended to write it down. It's not a must, because they quote from the verse, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِذَا تَدَيَنْتُمْ بِدَيْنِ لِأَجْلٍ مُسَمًّى فَاكْتُبُوهُ. O you believers, إِذَا تَدَيَنْتُمْ. If you deal with loans, you lend somebody for a certain period of time, write it down. The good thing, brothers, out of experience, it's not only a person, he denies your right because he doesn't want to give you right, because people sometimes they forget. You forget sometimes. I asked a brother once, I said, brother, what's your dowry? He said, I can't remember. He looked at his wife. I said to his wife, what's your dowry? She said, we don't remember. I said, where's the proof of marriage? They said, yeah, we didn't do it written. We did it at the store of that sheikh. Excuse me? Who's that sheikh? What's that store? Who are those witnesses? How can I prove that he owes you this much? If the witnesses is not there, and the document is not there, and you don't even recall the name of the shaykh, how do you want me now to get your right from him? If this guy doesn't fear Allah, how can we force him to pay you the dowry? Not only that, sometimes he tells it's a funny incident that happened once. I asked the sister how much he owes you. She said $10,000. He said, no, it's not the $10,000, it's $5,000. Tab here, she's claiming 10,000 and he's saying, no, it's 5,000. Where's the witnesses? Oh, they're not here, they're back home or whatever. I am in a situation here. You have to have a proof, bayina, or you have to swear on the Quran. You swear by Allah, you don't owe her this much. Because the debate now, the mahar was 5,000 or 10,000. She said 10,000, he's saying 5,000. No proof. So that's why, if you come in the second scenario, let's say the debt they considered, it's like maybe like a dead debt. The potential to get it back is very, very low. Especially if the person is denying. Sometimes he's not denying as well, the person, the client, whatever, but he's saying, give me time, give me time. Brother, it's a year, it's 2, it's 3, it's 4, it's 5 years. One guy, he told me, this guy, he owes me this for the last 10 years. When you want to give me my money, man? The value of the money is not there anymore. Anyway, if this is in this scenario, somebody owes you this money, this kind of debt, almost a dead loan, the potential to get it back is the doubt is big time, you don't pay the zakat here. And especially if he denies it, he said, no, I don't owe you anything. Or you don't have any proof that he owes you that money. What you do here, you do not pay zakat on such kind of debt. We call it dayn غير مرجو الأداء وهو مشكوك في تحصيله. طيب. Zakat al-Qard al-Hasan. Let's say you gave a person a good loan, not in business. Person, he doesn't owe you money because you made a business transaction with, because it makes a big difference. When you owe somebody money based on a transaction business, this means part of the money there's a profit. There's a profit there. He made a profit out of you. But let's say somebody, he came to you and he said, he gave a good loan. Biniyat al-irfaq. Al-irfaq means you have a problem, you have an issue, and he's helping you out, seeking the reward of Allah Azza wa Jal. In this case, he's saying here there's no zakat on al-muqrid, especially when the good loan goes with more than a year, 2, 3, 4, whatever. And that person finally, he got some money and now he came and to give you the money. Here, brothers, you pay the zakat only for 1 year. When you receive the money, for that year you pay it. But the money with your friend, with your cousin, with whatever for 3, 4 years, you don't pay zakat for the 3, 4 years. Because you did not get a chance to use that money to invest it, to grow it, to increase it. It's sitting there idle with the person, you made him a favor, and now, why should I pay zakat? Maybe he dies, maybe he didn't give me the money at all. So based on what I want to pay the zakat? Now he paid you the money back, that's good. I will pay for 1 year according to this scholars. Somebody borrowed money. Should he pay zakat or not? Somebody, you are a student and you applied for a student loan. If you take the student loan and you give it right away to the university, or you're willing to give it to your courses, you don't pay zakat on that. But if you take the student loan from the government and you go and open with it a store, we tell you, excuse me, for now you had an intention to do business of that, we tell you, yes, if that money, yeah, lots of people, they do it, by the way. I hear lots of people said, I want to go apply for a grant from the government, not loan, grant, sometimes a loan, and I want to do business with that money. What about if you lose? No, I'm good, Sheikh, I know what I'm doing, and that. In this scenario, in this case, do business, invest this loan, no problem, you're doing it with halal, but you have to pay zakat on that loan as long as it reaches, as we said yesterday, if you're going with gold, 7,600, goes up and down between 7,300, 7,600, 74, 7,500, or if you're going with the silver around 650. But as long as the intention of doing business is there and you start using it for business, you did not use it with the university, with your courses, whatever, here, in this scenario, you pay the zakat on your on that loan. Al-ibra' min ad-dayn wa ihtisabihi min az-zakat. I mentioned that yesterday at the beginning, but I will repeat it officially because I said it before, maybe the live stream. What about, let's say Muhammad and Ali. Muhammad, he gave a loan to Ali. And Ali, now he doesn't have the money to pay it back. Mu'sir. He doesn't have the money to pay it back. He's poor. He's bankrupt. He doesn't have the money to bring it back. Can Muhammad here, let's say Muhammad, Ali owes him 2,500. And Muhammad has $100,000 and his zakat, for example, 2,500. And Ali, he owes Muhammad 2,500. Can Muhammad in this scenario tell Ali, you know what? Because you are poor, anyway, you have to pay zakat 2,500. You don't have to pay. You don't have to pay me anymore, and you consider this from your zakat. Can I do that? No. You cannot do that. Because as I said yesterday, when you give somebody anything and it's for zakat, you have to have the intention first. This guy, when he owned you, you give him a loan or a business, whatever, you did not intend, you didn't have the intention from the beginning to be the zakat. What he can do, you can, but without playing games and without putting conditions. You can tell him what, you know, this is my zakat money, you're a poor guy, this is 2,500 or 3,000 or whatever you're paying your zakat. He got the 2,500, 3,000, 5,000, whatever. And if he takes the 2,500, which is you owe him, he owes you, he give it to you, okay, your zakat is good. But if you put a condition on him and you play a game, you cannot play games with Allah. You tell him, hey, listen, you know what? I have to pay my zakat. I will give you 2,500. You receive it with your hand, but under one condition. I give it to you, you give it to me back. هذا احتيال. This is احتيال. Playing games. Tricks. We don't do this with Allah Azza wa Jal. Again, because lots of people, they fall in this. They say, yeah, you know what, so and so, he owes me an amount. If I want to consider it zakat. Like al masjid. Some people, they gave the masjid good loan. You remember? We got millions of dollars in a good loan from the community. Alhamdulillah, we gave them back. Now we're going for a bigger loan when we start the school, inshallah. But alhamdulillah, it was a very good experience. A person, let's say he gave the masjid $10,000 loan. As a loan. For a year, for whenever he wants his money, he has the right, due on demand, as we promised the people. But this guy, he said, you know what? Well, I have like $2 million and my zakat is $50,000. And he called the masjid. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. By the way, guys, you owe me $10,000. I give it to the masjid as a loan. Khalas, keep it as a zakat. You cannot do that. Even by law, one of the conditions CRA put on us when we asked them, we want to collect loans from the people, did you know what did they say? They said you can take from the people checks, money order, visa, credit cards, cash, checks, whatever you can take. But when you give the people their money back, you have to give it in a check. You cannot take cash and give it back cash. You cannot take it to the credit card and give it back. You take it whatever you want. But when you give the money back from the account of the organization to the person, it has to go back to that person in a check. For here in this scenario, by law, Islamically, for example, if the masjid owes you $10,000, for example, as a loan, the masjid, he has to issue you a check with the $10,000 as we have done with the people. When you receive the $10,000, this is your money, legally you are okay, Islamically, you said, here you go, this is $10,000 from me for the renovation of the mosque, as a zakat. It's okay. According for the mosque, it's okay according to some scholars here in the West. In the West, some scholars now saying you can give your zakat Why? Because especially there's Islamophobia for da'wah, for building masajid and this, because we are a minority and we have to stand on our feet, we have to defend Islam, we have to raise La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, we have to go for da'wah. Lots of scholars now they say yes, you can pay the zakat for the masjid in the West, especially for the masjid, if the masjid is practicing da'wah, standing against Islamophobia and doing all these things. But if you are back home in a Muslim country, you are not allowed to pay zakat for the masjid. طيب. What about zakat al-ashum? Stocks. I don't want to spend so much with this. Stocks. You have two things with the stocks. First of all, you know halal stocks, haram stocks, to invest this. I'm not going to talk about it. I am talking to a Muslim brother whom I assume he's investing in halal. He's not investing in wine and gambling and pornography or what they call it, weed or mukhaddarat, drugs, or some guys now they invest in weed, they say for medical purposes. If it's medical purposes, there's a talk about it. Yani, it's as long as it's not for recreational. It's medical, said medicine and that. Anyway, I don't want to get into that details. It's not my topic today. You have a stocks. How do I pay the zakat on the stocks? As long as those stocks are active, still live, they're trading, what you do? You go for the amount, especially if you are buying and selling and you are waiting. You buy stocks, you are waiting the price to go up to sell. And you have an access. Those people dealing with the stocks, the ashum, you know, they go online or through the bank or through the broker, sell for me, or they sell themselves or they buy themselves and they cash it, they send it to their account. In this situation, if you are paying zakat, you have an nisab, the minimum legal amount as we said, and you have your stock, and the stock, you see the market value. You don't look about the price when you bought them or the price whom you are planning to sell. No. Now, what's the market price? Today you want to pay your zakat. What's the market price for your stocks? You calculate it, you add it to your zakat money, and you pay 2.5. Type. This is one scenario. There's a stock, dead stock. Yeah, and it's not the trading, and it's 99%, you're not going to get that money back. You don't pay zakat on that. Third scenario, some people, what they do, they invest, they buy stocks in some companies, and they don't buy and sell. They keep the stocks as they are in the company, and they aim to get what they call it dividends. You know the dividend? Like every company, every 3 months or every year, every quarter, 2 quarters, this, they give a profit, they call it dividend. We call it ribh, we call it ray', we call it this. If your intention just to keep the money sitting there, like your stocks, but you are getting that dividend, the profit, then you pay the zakat on that dividend. You add it to the rest of your zakat, your money, and if they reach the minimum legal amount, you pay the zakat as well, 2.5. That's good to know. They have here, let me see before we leave you guys, we still have something here to mention. Sanadat, I'm not going to talk about it. Sanadat, you know what the bond, they call it bonds. Usually big companies, usually governments, countries, they issue bonds. And that bond, always they put interest. You buy it to the government, this bond for $100. Why? Because you know, at a certain time, the government will buy it back from you for 110 or 200 or 150. They give it to you as interest. But that's why I don't bother, and I don't want to bother myself to talk a lot about it. Dealing with such kind of bonds, it's not halal. But when I pay zakat, I don't pay zakat on the bond, the value and the interest on the top of it. The interest, as the person should take it out and put it in a general public affairs and you don't get reward of that, and you don't use it for a masjid or masahif or this and that. But you pay the zakat on the original price of that bond. Let's say you bought 100 bonds, 100 by 100. How much? 10,000? 10,000. With the interest, 13,000. You don't pay zakat on the 13,000. You don't pay you don't pay zakat on the 3,000, because that's mal khabith and evil money. You pay the zakat on the original, on the $10,000. Wallahu ta'ala a'lam. Sanadik, this one we're going to talk about it. Some people, they have what they call it as-suquq al-istithmariyah. Zakat al-hisabat. I will finish with this point. Zakat al-hisabat al-istithmariyah. There's 2 points I'm going to talk about, and we are done for today. The first one, some people they go, and there's so many different names. Some people they put in saving account, and some accounts you put the money and you're not allowed to touch it. Willingly, you go there, you said, you know what, I want to put this money in the bank or with the government, whatever, for 5 years, I don't want to touch it. Or RRSPs, some people, they have some companies, they put money for your kids in the bank, or your company, they take from your check and they put money in the bank, or the government, they will match some money, as long as you don't touch it for retirement, or. I don't want to go with details. I want to tell you something from the end. You have the RRSP, you have a saving account, you have money for your kids, you have money for yourself, you have money for your retirement, you have anything in the bank, as long as you have an access to it, or you had an access but you did not exercise the access because you don't want to pay the taxes, you don't want that, you go calculate it and you add it to your nisab, if it reached the nisab, and you pay 2.5 from the end. I don't want to go with everyone. RRSP, saving, retirement. No. You had an access to that money. It's your money. And the profit is there. It's increasing. That's why you are putting it in your intention in a saving account with a bank or this or that. Why? Because you want it for 5 years to invest it for you. The potential of growing is there. And you have the access. But you blocked yourself. You refrained from exercising your access and authority to use that money. Some brothers, they come to me and said, Sheikh, I'm putting the money there because I don't pay taxes on it. While it's sitting there, the government will put. But once I touch it, I have to pay taxes. I said, that's your problem. You don't want to pay taxes and you don't want to pay zakat. It doesn't make any sense. So you go and you pay 2.5 on that amount as long as it reaches a nisab. What about you have some money, and that money, you got the money and you said, this money for something, for my essentials, I want to build my house. I want to buy the car. I want to pay for my courses for my university. Then we ask you a question. You said you have this money. Did you take action? هل شرعت في البناء؟ you said I have this $100,000 or $500,000, and with this $500,000 I want to build a house. It takes me 6 months, the house will be done. Type, that's good, fair enough. Type, did you start? Did you take the initiative? Did you start paying? Did you start making what they call it, payments? Did you sign contracts? Did you hire the contractor? If the answer is yes, and you start paying to your house and this money for the house, you don't pay zakat on it because you're building the house to live in it. But if you have the money in the bank or at home and you did not start yet, and the whole year is gone, hal al-hawl, and you didn't even take action, you pay the 2.5, the zakat, because you didn't do anything. You have money sitting in the bank, and I have the intention to get married. Hey brother, mashallah, congratulations. Oh, sorry brother, Shaykh, I didn't get married yet. Oh, you told me 2 Ramadans ago you are getting married. Yeah, I was planning to get married, changed my mind. Yeah, did you pay the zakat for the last 2 years? You have to pay zakat. If you want to get married, yeah, I did, Shaykh, I got engaged now, mashallah, we took the imam, we read the Fatiha, we did this and that. And in May, for example, next month, we are doing our contract marriage, and in June, we booked the Arca over there, and we are going to have our wedding. For here, what did you do? You took action. For that money you assigned for your marriage, and you took action, you took the initiative, you don't pay zakat on it. Anything for your essentials, you don't pay zakat as long as you proceeded, you started, you took the initiative, you start using the money for that regard. But if you have a money, for example, you have a $20,000 and you are 22 years old and you are planning to get married when you reach 25, and you say, I don't pay zakat because in the 26 I will get married, we tell you, sorry. If the year passes, the hawl passes by, and you did not get involved in marriage, use this money, you have to pay the zakat, and it will be 2.5. What about the zakat wal daribi? Some people, they ask this question, Shaykh, they say, if I pay the tax for the government, ادفع الضريبة للحكومة, do I still have to pay my zakat? Of course you have to. You have nothing to do with that. You pay the tax for the government for different purposes, and the zakat for different purpose. Zakat is 2.5. With the government, the tax is Allah only knows, you only know how much you're paying, depends on your income. Starts from 1% or whatever, all the way to 50%. And the thing here, the good thing with the government here, for example, if you pay your zakat, let's say you pay the masjid, and you get a receipt, you paid $10,000. You apply it, you get at least 50% back, 40 something, 50% back. The government, they honor at least close to half of it, at least, which is good. And some people, they said, am I allowed to take it? Of course, it's your money to start with. And the government, because they know you paid donations, charities, and humanitarian causes, and a noble cause, you help the less fortunate people, the government, they honor that. Because you didn't use it yourself, this money. And you have a proof that they will ask you for a receipt, a proof that you gave it in a good cause, as a donation, as a charity, as whatever. Tomorrow, inshallah, we will start from this point, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Jazakumullahu khairan. May Allah accept from us الصيام والقيام وغض البصر وأن يعيننا على غض البصر وحفظ اللسان. We ask Allah to bless the rest of Ramadan. As you know, brothers, sisters, tonight is the first night, the odd night. Tonight, الليلة ليلة الحادي والعشرين. Tonight is the night of the 21st. There is a potential to be the night of the power. Take advantage of that. Don't miss that blessings. May Allah reward all of you. May Allah bless all of us. Wa sallallahu ala rasulillah wa jazakumullahu khairan wa assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.